It's time now for County-Wide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join Paul David and Brad Miller as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives here in Yavapai County. And now, here's today's County-Wide.
Well, good day and welcome to the program. It is County-Wide. Brad Miller with you, and we're happy to welcome into studios some guests that we've talked, well, not these guests, but Catholic Charities has been guests with us before, and I think Jennifer Devour has been in once or twice, and good to see you again.
Thank you.
Happy to have you here with Catholic Charities today. And today, a foster parent, Tammy Oothoudt, is here, and I'm going to read your quick bio because I love this. Camp Verde mom.
Yeah.
That just says so much to anybody who's a mom or has ever had one. She and her husband have fostered several children and adopted 2. And it's incredible to take your story and put it into about 9-word sentence because it's so much more than that. And I'm going to ask you to share that with our audience today, what these folks do through fostering children. And that's our subject today. Let me kind of first start, Jennifer, if I could just ask you real quick, just Catholic Charities. Many in our community will be familiar with the organization, but many probably are not. Can you give me kind of a synopsis on what Catholic, well, is that the bells of St. Mary's?
Yes,
okay, all right. Those pesky phones go off.
So
we'll call them back after the show, that's fine. But when we talk about Catholic Charities, we are talking about what kind of an organization?
Catholic Charities is an organization that works with the community's vulnerable, and what we want to do is really, we have programs that are set up to really permanently impact and empower families to change their lives.
Okay.
We have a wide variety of programs from working with the homeless. We have a program called Empower You that really teaches families to rethink how they handle their economics and their budget and just their family structure so they can be successful. And then the program I work the most with is foster care and adoption.
And to me, it seems like on the outset, that's what a lot of people would affiliate with. When you say Catholic Charities, I think foster. And that's mostly what our programs have been about in the past, is that aspect of it. So do you think that's fair to say? It certainly doesn't touch on everything, but
right.
Is that affiliation okay with you if people kind of make that connection?
I think it's a widely known program that we have, but we definitely do a lot of other things for the community.
Right. There's a good way to find out more information on that, and that'll be for our TV viewers. 634-4254 is the local number to call. And also CatholicCharitiesAZ.org. So online, very good way to find out more about exactly what it is. But again, today our talk will kind of focus on the fostering. And Tammy Oothoudt, Camp Verde, you and your husband, Jerry's here.
Yeah.
But he's in the other room, so we've got him sitting in the green room. But we, I mean, just say, again, hats off to what you do. Can you kind of tell me, first of all, how you got involved? Was it sitting at the kitchen table one night and said, well, we can take this on? How did this start for you, fostering?
Basically, we just, some of our friends were doing it. And so then that started getting the wheels spinning as far as, thinking about doing it. And we felt like we were really secure in our family structure and that we could do it. We thought about it for probably a couple of years before we actually took the plunge. But
I think one of the things, Jennifer, you mentioned we wanted to talk about today was that, as Tammy just said, that many people before they get involved in fostering think about it for a long time, sometimes years, before finding out more. And it's great that they eventually do it, but we want to maybe kind of encourage people not to wait so long to learn more.
Right.
Not just jump in, but to find out more.
Right. And I on average, people tell me they've been thinking about it 3 to 5 years, so it is a long process. Right now in the Verde Valley especially, we have a huge need for foster homes. On average, we have about 4 to 6 spaces available for kids on any given day. So it's not enough. It's just not enough.
Yeah.
And so we have an event coming up on September 20th at the Latter-day Saint Church up by the high school that families can come out, meet existing foster families, meet CPS, get some information. It doesn't mean you're making a commitment, but you're just getting information to see if it's something that really would be a fit for you and your family.
kicking the tires, as it were.
Kicking the tires.
A little bit. But a great way to find out,
Yes.
to learn more. So coming up on the 20th, we'll repeat that information about dates and times and things so that you can do that and come out and find out more firsthand. Anyway, Tammy, I'm sorry I interrupted.
Oh, no, that's okay.
After that, you made that decision, thought, well, we can probably do this.
Right,
What
so
happened,
we just started taking the classes and getting more and more excited about it. And originally our hearts were more for the teenagers because they just age out of the system, and then they have no place to call home to, Christmas, Thanksgiving, stuff like that. So originally that's where our hearts was for the older kids.
Right.
And then through our training, we kind of got scared of teenagers, as most people do. But since then, we've had a few teenagers, and I enjoy doing the teenagers myself. That's
Now you've had over how long a period of time? And how many kids
almost
have you?
4 years we've
4
been
years.
fostering, and we've had approximately 15 different kids in our home at different times.
When we say fostering, and Jennifer, maybe this will be a question for you. This is kids that come to your home, live there. Okay, it's not a day, it's not an outpatient
Right.
thing, it's not a daytime.
Right.
Okay, tell me how that works.
So they're removed from their home of origin because of some type of abuse or neglect. Families are in trauma, they need some assistance to kind of get back on their feet. And the foster parent's role is to provide that safe and nurturing home for the children while they're in transition. The goal is always to return to parent. The hope is always that mom and dad can get the tools and skills they need to return to parent. So the foster parent works with CPS and the child welfare team to help the birth parents in that. So they parent the children until they're able to return to parent.
Okay. If there's so many ifs and so many whats and hows, every case is going to be different. I understand that. Excuse me. But is there such a thing, let's just pretend that there's such a thing as typical. Typically, a foster parent is going to receive a child that has probably been exposed to maybe abuse themselves, certainly something in the home that would cause them to be removed.
Correct.
Violence, criminal behavior on the part of the parents, those kinds of things.
Correct.
So I don't know if this is the right word, but you're going to get a kid who's somewhat damaged or maybe has lived life that we hope none of our kids need to live.
Yes, all of these kids have experienced some level of trauma.
Okay.
So.
When you heard about that, Tammy, did that change your mind? Did that make you more resolved to be part of this?
That definitely made me more resolved to be part of it because, first of all, even if they've been traumatized or, physically hurt, neglected, they're still kids and they're still people. And basically, it's not often that they come in and they're totally disruptive. I mean, I don't know that that's ever really happened, that it's just totally disruptive to your home.
Yeah.
Basically, all they need is just to be loved. To be loved, to sit around the table, play family games, to sit at a dinner table with everybody, and it's amazing that a lot of kids don't have that, and they really appreciate that.
Just that. I was going to ask, how much is it upon the foster parents or foster family to heal and try to mend? And it sounds like just the day-to-day is the healing and the mending, that giving them a normal, quote-unquote.
Right. And there's
setting.
a team of professionals that work with the foster parents. It's not your job to fix them. But it's your job to provide them normal.
Maybe for the first time that they've ever seen it.
Right.
Can I, if I get too personal, tell me, do you have, do you and Jerry have your own kids?
Yes, we do. And I think that, I'm not sure where you're going with that, but on that note, I think that the foster kids are good for our kids because, our kids take for granted the sitting at the dinner table together, the, going camping, the everyday family stuff that's just been part of life. And so I think it helps our kids as well see, that these are things that need to be appreciated.
That is where I was going. More specifically, I was going to kind of ask how. Just seeing not just what you and your husband do, but seeing what other young people, when the foster kids come in, seeing what other people, youngsters, what it's like. Again, I am so sorry to use that word normal, but it just keeps coming to mind. Traditional, let's maybe say it that way. But that has to be so it's a family effort. And when Jerry and yourself sat down and said, we want to be fosters, the kids had to have been part of that decision.
Absolutely. They absolutely were part of that. And we wouldn't have done it without them being part of it, because if we're not all on board as a family, then it's not going to work.
Right.
And it's, then it wouldn't work. And so we've definitely, been on board as a family to do it.
For 4 years now, it's been working, 15 kids strong. We need to take a short break. When we come back, more with our guests today, Tammy Oothoudt, Jennifer Devour, Catholic Charities. We'll break and come back to Countywide right after this.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
I was in junior high the first time I caught my mom using denial. She had to have known her painkillers were missing because I kept stealing them. Her denial was so out of hand.
So she doesn't even know? I'm going out.
It was like I could get away with anything.
You kids have fun.
And that was when I knew. When she was addicted to denial.
Denial is a drug. Get help. The partnership at drugfree.org.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
Now, some action from the courts. Billie Jean King renewing her rivalry with Arthritis. First set, furious volley, and right to the net for a winner. Beautiful forehand there. Arthritis, stunned. And here, match point. Billie Jean with the ace, taking it in straight sets. Afterwards, a jubilant Billie Jean King.
Tennis is a weapon for me with arthritis. There's nothing like it for me to hit a ball, run to the ball, anytime, any court. I'm ready. Let's go.
What's your weapon against arthritis? Find out at fightarthritispain.org.
Welcome back to the program. It is Countywide, and our guest today, Jennifer Devour, Tammy Oothoudt with Catholic Charities, and Tammy is along with husband Jerry. Hi, Jerry. He's in the other room there. Camp Verde foster parents. They've been doing for about 4 years. 15 youngsters have come through their home, and you're not done. You're going to continue to do this. Oh, no. I knew that answer before I even asked the question. It sounds like you've had a lot of success, and that you and your family, everybody's got their heads in the game. But Jennifer, certainly there has to be a time when there's a mismatch. Mm-hmm. How does that process start? How do you match the kids with the right families? And if there's not a flow, if there's for whatever reason,
right? What do we do?
What do you do?
Well, first of all, we try to prevent that before the placement ever happens. Sure. When placement comes from CPS, Child Protective Services, it's an emergency situation. We don't necessarily have a lot of information. We may know the reason for removal and the gender and the general age of the kid. So it's hard to necessarily make this great match. So we try to start it with the families in training in how to ask questions, know your family, know your boundaries, know what your skills are and what your needs are. And feel free to say no if you get a call that the child is genuinely beyond what your skill set is. And then we work with the families to identify the signs of disruption, know when this kid is just pushing my buttons way too much. And so then we try to put services in place to strengthen your skill set and to work with the kid on their needs so that you are able to preserve the placement. And sometimes, unfortunately, disruptions just genuinely happen and there's just a need, and there may be a safety issue or something like that. And then the child will have to be removed and placed in an alternative foster home.
And I'm thinking you really try to avoid that.
We really
because of the
try to
message
avoid
it could send to the child.
Yes, and they've already experienced trauma from being removed from their home of origin. In addition to the abuse they've probably experienced, so we don't want to re-traumatize the children. So we try to avoid that. But sometimes they need a higher level of care, or there's a situation with the family that just needs to be addressed. And
Sure. It makes sense. It can't be perfect every single time. Tammy, again, I'm having some difficulty because it seems like I'm asking you such personal questions, and I guess I am. I'm getting inside your family here today, and so are our listeners. But has that ever happened? Have you had a foster child that came through and it was just a really tough road, tougher than others?
Absolutely. Yeah, yes, it has. And I guess you just learn to not take those things personal.
Yeah.
We've had a couple. Well, we've had one actual disruption, and then we also had a boy that ran away. But I don't know. You just kind of you have to be able to roll with the punches, I guess, and definitely not take it personal, because it's not, it's not you. It's not that you've failed as a foster family, or, it's just the stuff that the kids have been through that.
How aware are you made as a foster of the child's past background? Do they know everything?
No.
Okay, and that's by design. I mean, well, maybe nobody knows everything, but whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Well, CPS gives as much information as they possibly have.
Okay.
But if they're removing a child because of a crisis-oriented situation, they don't have a lot of information. Mom and dad don't sit and fill out paperwork about all the details about the kids.
Right.
So.
You just kind of, you learn as you go, kind of like with raising your own children. You kind of grow up as your kids grow, and you learn as your kids are learning. You learn as you're teaching your kids, and that's basically how I see it with the foster kids.
And how could it be any way else? Of course. I would assume that oftentimes the kids will be, after maybe a short time, begin to confide if things are working well, and to talk about maybe some of their troubles. Is that part of your role, I assume?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we're definitely not put in the position as like, a professional, therapist or anything like that. But definitely, I mean, basically just like your own kids, if they were having, troubles or whatever, they, come and confide in you.
When they open up, Right. Yeah. I just find it absolutely extraordinary that you're able to do this, and it must be tricky at the end of the time. And I don't know who determines that, how it works when a child is taken from foster care. I guess it's when they're able to go back to their true parents. That's got to be kind of hard sometimes.
That's very hard.
Yeah.
It is hard because you do get attached, but also it's kind of bittersweet because, we're not just doing this for the kids. They're, they're definitely the center of it, but our goal is to try to help the family as a whole to kind of learn what, that word normal is. And so we are open to working with the bio families a lot to help them as a family, not just the child. So then when it turns out that the child can go back, it's success. It's we've succeeded in what we were trying to accomplish.
So they truly belong.
Right.
Sure.
So it's hard to see them go, but it's good that they get to be with it. Yes.
And do I understand it right? You permanently adopted one of your foster kids?
We've actually permanently adopted two.
Two of them?
Okay. We have a 14-year-old girl that we adopted and a 12-year-old boy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Incredible. And the situation became that they couldn't be returned? Or here again, I'm asking very personal questions, but can we talk about that?
When our daughter came in, she was already available for adoption. She was adoptable.
Yes.
Is that, yeah. And our son wasn't. He came in as a foster placement, and then it turned to adoption.
Yeah, okay.
So.
Extraordinary. Again, we have to take a short break. Tammy Oothoudt and Jennifer Devour, Catholic Charities today. We'll take a break, come back, talk about that fundraiser you mentioned coming up soon. We'll be back right after this.
Having a fire escape plan is very important to keep your family safe and together in the event of a fire. When you awake to the sound of a smoke detector and smoke in your room, don't stand straight up. Carefully roll off your bed and stay low under the smoke. If your door is shut, feel the door with the back of your hand. Slowly open the door if no heat is felt. Always stay low until you get to the outside of your home. Always have 2 ways out of your house and a specified meeting place somewhere outside your home. Home escape plans should be drawn up and rehearsed on a regular basis. This could be the difference between life and death if caught in a fire.
Yes, ready? Go get it.
Oh, come on, Randy. Animal shelter, here I come. And no, I'm not crazy or emotionally damaged. That's a stereotype. I just belong to a total loser. I'm a good dog. So if you want a pet, adopt. And if you see Randy, tell him he dropped his wallet.
Fire can happen at any time. What would you try to save?
My family photos.
My grandfather's war memorabilia.
My dogs.
I'm firefighter Brandon Wacker with the Cotton Fire Department. A working smoke detector is your best defense in the event of a fire. Make sure you have a smoke detector in every room except your kitchen. Test them monthly and change the battery once a year. Take the time to save the things you can't replace.
It's easy to tell if you've had way too many. But what if you've had just one too many? Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Welcome back to the program. It's countywide. Tammy Oothoudt and Jennifer Devour, Catholic Charities. And I said, going to the break, I said you're having a fundraiser on the 20th, and that's not right. Tell me what you are going to be doing.
We're just having an event to promote awareness of the need for foster and adoptive homes in our community. And even if families are not interested in doing foster care and adoption, there will be other agencies like CASA, which is a court-appointed special advocate, Big Brother, Big Sister, Buena Vista, Boys and Girls Club, various providers in our community that work with kids. So if you're interested in making an impact in the lives of kids in our community, we encourage you to come out on September 20th at 6:30. Just get information. No commitments are needed. It's just there to get information and educate yourself.
And this will be where, again?
It's at the Latter-day Saints Church up the road from Mingus High School.
Okay. Terrific. Great way. We said kick the tires early in the show.
Yeah.
So I think most importantly there, like you said, fostering isn't it. For Tammy and Jerry it is and has worked successfully, but for some people it's biting off a lot.
Yes.
We can understand that there'll be other organizations there that you can get involved in.
Yes.
Bottom line is if you have a little bit of, one thing we didn't touch on too much that we wanted to mention, oh my gosh, I must have all these prerequisites. I must be a nurse and a doctor and an airplane pilot and a fireman to become a foster parent. I don't need to have any of that, do I?
No, you don't have to have any special skills. You don't have to have a great deal of money. We have a wide variety of families, which is great because we have a wide variety of kids. And so you don't have to be the perfect person with a squeaky clean.
You basically just have to have a heart, a desire to help people.
Yes.
And what a great way to end our program. On that note, we will, again, on September 20th, find out a lot more. And online, CatholicCharitiesAZ.org, or you can call the local number is 634-4254, extension 54132. Ladies, thank you so much, especially you. Can I give her a special shout out?
Yes.
I think bringing kids into your home is extraordinary, and we salute that. It's countywide, and we'll see you next time.
This This has been County-Wide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Listen in each Tuesday and Thursday as we tackle the hot topics and talk to the decision makers across Yavapai County. That's County-Wide with Brad Miller and Paul David each Tuesday and Thursday on this Yavapai Broadcasting station.